This episode is brought to you by regret and bad choices.
Are you ready?
Starting now?
Well, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. Objects, I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And yeah, I got some stuff to talk about tonight. I got a couple of news stories. I got a big thing I want to talk about too that I think is big for us. But to start out with, right before I'm going to send the link to Mike to start the recording, I just kind of rubbed my eye a little bit. You know, it's late in the day whenever I wear contacts. My contact, and it does it every once in a while if it dries out, fucking rolls up in my eye, you know?
Right.
So it's not like it just needed to be fixed. I mean, I gotta look down and you gotta push on the top of your eyelid because it rolls around to the, not all the way up, but I mean, it's sort of, 3/4 up on your eye, you know? And when I do that, then my eyes are watering and I get stuffed up. It's almost like you sneezed about 70 times. So that's why I first get on here. I'm like, shit, I'm stuffed up too. I'll explain that in a minute. And I'm like, God damn.
All right.
So the only good thing,
you fucking falling apart, man.
I know. And it thankfully it doesn't happen that often, but man, when I first started wearing contacts, the first time that it happened, fuck man, I had no idea what to do, and then I learned how to get it out of there, but it fucking freaked me out. I'm like, where's my fucking contact? It wasn't in there. And I'm like, and I could feel it. And I'm like, fuck, it's back in my head. Which technically, to a certain extent, it is, but now I know how to fix it. So there.
All right.
But yeah, you know what? It's been a week. I got to explain that too, and I'll explain it a little bit. I've been kind of a little bit wigged out this week, but everything feels, I don't know. It's kind of, I'll explain it, but it's been a week and it's only fucking Thursday.
Right.
Yeah. So we're recording a day early because and I'll explain that a little bit later too. We probably get to some more positive stuff before I start going through all that shit. Right.
Sure. I guess. I don't know. Right.
Real quick though, and this is some good stuff. So are you sitting down and are you sitting up straight right now?
No, I mean I'm sitting down, but
so apparently we have new listeners. Okay. So this past episode, yeah, exactly. Well, hi there. If you're new, thanks for joining in and listening to my contact story because this is what we do.
But, this is it.
So last episode, so obviously last week and then the week before, we've had twice as many plays. And then I was looking back, we had like 300, almost 400 plays over the last, 7 days or 10 days.
Really?
And it's kicking into other episodes too. So we don't do this very often, but I'm seriously, if you are new-ish, if you've just been listening for a couple of weeks or something like that, email us, okay? I would love to know two things. First of all, email address, it's simple, info@SoberNotMature.com, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you're in your car and don't want to write it down, go to our website, SoberNotMature.com.
Right.
A little bit down, it's right in there. You can click through. You can click through on our Instagram page too. Again, sober not mature. Yeah, seeing a pattern here, pretty easy.
Right.
But I'm really curious where people are from or how they heard about us.
Right.
Because this is things have been down over the last year or so. From where
Mm-hmm.
they were to begin with. We had a little bit of an uphill and peaked, and then came down a little bit. Not a big deal, but I don't think I've been doing anything differently, with social media stuff and
Right.
whatever. If I have been, it's accidental.
Like everything else we do.
Exactly. So I'm just kind of curious. The Sober Curator just posted an article that I did, the Breaking Bad stuff. I don't know if that
Right.
got some
Yeah.
play, but I don't know. I'm just really, really curious to see how did if you're new over the last couple of weeks or whatever it is, please seriously email us. How the
Yeah.
fuck did you find us? And stick around. Tell somebody else. But
Right. All that
you know,
good stuff. But yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, hey, that's, I guess we're I don't know. We're doing something.
yeah, I don't know whatever happened. Literally, the plays doubled on the last two episodes. So I looked at it. I thought it was something because Spotify. I mean, I can look at on my phone. I can look at the app and the plays will fluctuate. Sometimes it'll say this and then it's down. Then it'll take a day or two to kind of even out on a particular episode. So I
Mm-hmm.
just figured it was a glitch. And I looked at 2-3 days in a row, and I look back at the last episode. And then I'm seeing the trend that clearly it's been over the last few weeks and or a couple weeks at least. And it's not just the newest episodes. You can see the plays are on the other ones too. So anyhow,
Yeah.
some people have found us. So literally, seriously, take a minute, email us, and just let us know. Seriously, how the fuck did you
Yeah.
find us?
Right.
And we're not gonna do anything differently. That's why I was
No,
just joking
no.
when I was joking when I said sitting up straight and whatever. We have company.
I guess I should put my pants back on.
Nah, I don't know. It's just one of those things that I don't know. If we tried to change something, we'd fuck it all the way up.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I mean, because anytime anything good happens to either one of us in real life, or certainly in podcast land here,
Mm-hmm.
we've never really tried to do anything. It's just like, oh, that fucking worked. Oh, okay.
Well, okay. Yeah, right.
I guess we'll just do that.
Right.
But yeah, so like I said, I got a couple of things. I think I found a couple of news articles I think you'll find amusing. So we'll get to
All
those.
right.
But yeah, just some other things about the place I'm at and a couple other things. And like I said, I was kind of wigged out this week, but I'll explain why. So anyhow,
All right.
it's just life. That's all. It's nothing
Yeah.
nothing bad, nothing
Right.
fucking bad at all.
Right.
So
Yeah. Okay.
but I'm guessing you've got a reading. Hopefully, yes, no.
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I got a reading. Actually, it's well, all right. So we talked about luck and fortune last week. Apparently
Yes.
some extra people heard that. Well, today's reading in Keep It Simple talked about that. I was like, oh, I read it this morning. I was all, well, shit. How about that? So yeah, 6 days later, kind of got an answer. Imagine that.
Right.
Yeah. Stay out of the way, and here we go. So, let's see. January 30th from Keep It Simple. God damn. Hey, sorry. Hang on, man. I'm getting my phone. I'm getting tons and tons of calls today for some damn reason. I don't know why. End of the month, they're trying to make their quotas or something. But
Right.
Yeah, I don't know anyone in Passaic, New Jersey, so I'm going to go ahead and figure that's what that is. All right, back to this. January 30th from Keep It Simple. Go and wake up your luck. A Persian proverb. We've been given recovery. For this, we are lucky, and we're grateful. Now it's up to us. We must accept our choices. When we're afraid, do we choose to be alone, or do we choose to go to an extra meeting? When we're not honest, do we keep it secret, or do we admit it and try to be more honest? No matter what we choose, we're responsible for that choice. Through choices, we make our program either strong or weak. We can choose to be lucky, or we can choose not to be. The choice is ours. Our addiction robbed us of choice. It taught us to blame others. Now we see ourselves as responsible. Prayer for the day. Higher power, help me choose wisely. Help me to remember I'm responsible for my choices. Action for the day. Those pesky actions. Today, I'll work at being responsible for my choices. I'll see myself as one of the lucky ones. So, right. So, yeah, right. It's, what is luck? Luck
Right.
is the choice. The
Right.
choices we make with it. We can choose to be lucky. Yes, we've been given this thing. We, we were in our 20s and our 30s and getting all fucked up. We weren't choosing to be lucky. We sure as hell weren't choosing recovery.
Right.
I don't think we ever chose recovery. I mean, I didn't.
I sure as fuck didn't.
Right. I know you didn't. Right. It was, the choice was continue on. I believe that there's a book I read somewhere that said we could continue on in our I'm paraphrasing, miserable lives, or we can do something about it. Standing at the crossroads, that sort of thing. Yeah, so what is luck? Luck is the fucking choices we make. We choose to be lucky. I choose to be sober. I choose to work my recovery. That's the fucking luck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good. And I read that this morning. I think I don't even know. I think I posted that because that was today's. I think I posted
Yeah.
that.
All right.
As far as the Instagram post this
Right.
morning, but the thing of it is, and yeah, it's making it comes down to making your own luck. People talk about that all the time. They
Mhm.
always say, hey, you make your own luck and blah blah blah.
Mm.
But it is. I mean, it's a great way to look at it, though. Saying that, I mean, we can make a ton of bad choices and have one lucky moment.
Right.
Like I don't know, you win a scratch off, or somebody gives you a
Mm.
freebie on something, whatever the case is.
Right.
You get what you think is luck, but you're making all these bad choices, so you're actually creating your own miserable existence, which is what
Mhm.
we did for fucking years.
Right. Decades.
Yeah. Whereas if you're doing the next right thing, and maybe that's the reason that luck is so I don't want to say incomprehensible, but just hard to really grasp onto as a
Right.
concept, because we know, I mean, you and I, and those of us in recovery that are working a path and working a program, we
Mhm.
realize that if you continue to do the next right thing,
Right.
shit somehow, some way fucking works out.
Yes, it does.
All the worry in the world, and when I tell you about my little wig outness this week, I was continuously telling myself, "Fuck, man, I none of this shit fucking matters because I can do all this shit."
Right.
And again, one way or the other, this shit works out. But yeah, I mean, luck. Yeah, we make our own luck. It is by. I love the fact that it talks about the choices. You make positive choices, you get positive results. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Put yourself in situations and circumstances and right. Every choice we make has a consequence, good and bad. And that's really it, man. I can choose to be places I shouldn't be, or I can choose to be places I should be. And if I choose to be somewhere I shouldn't be, probably some shit's going to go down that I'm not going to be too happy with,
Right.
But if I choose to be someplace where I should be, I'm probably going to be okay.
Well, and that goes back to the concept too of the whole higher power thing. Handing all this shit over, our lives and our wills over to the
Mhm.
care of whatever.
Right.
It doesn't mean that we just like, okay, whatever you are, or
Mhm.
whoever you are,
Yeah.
here's my stuff. Okay, I'm kicking back and
Right.
bring it to me. I'm
Yeah,
ready.
exactly.
We still have to get up, and the whole point that you and I talk about, that's talked about in the book and in the meetings and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Number one, do the work. Take the action. You say that all the time, those
Yep.
pesky actions, but it is, I mean, you can turn the wheel over, you could follow this path, and
Mhm.
let things kind of go and flow and all this sort of things. But we cannot just sit still. It's not like
No.
you sit back and just fucking wait for it. And I like the way you put that, putting yourself in situations that are positive versus putting
Mhm.
yourself in situations that are negative. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, I was in I don't know, a fucking horrible part of town, and I got my ass kicked. Oh, really?
Right. Yeah,
Really? That happened.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I was sober for 14, almost 15 years, and I started going back to bars. And guess what? I
Right.
relapsed. Did you
Yeah.
really? Really? Yeah. I mean, and again, you go to bars, but you go every once in a while. You go for a
Right.
reason. You go for a purpose. You're not
Yes.
hanging out at a fucking bar every goddamn
No,
night.
I am not.
So, but yeah, you go to see a band every once in a while, and when shit gets weird,
Exactly.
you fucking leave, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, I mean, and again, situations. I don't let shit get weird around me. I'm there for a purpose. Exactly. I walked into a bar last week. Walked into a bar. A
A
drunk
drunk
walks
walks
into a
into
bar.
a bar.
No, there's a local club here called No Class, and they had they printed up some hoodies, and I wanted one, so I bought one, and anyway, it came in, and I had to pick it up last week, so I walked into a bar. There was no band playing, there was nothing going on. It was a Thursday night, and it was a fucking bar. And, and I walked in, and I walked over to the bar and said, "Hey, man, got a sweatshirt in." She said, "What's your name?" Blah blah blah, and went back and got it. And I had to stand there for, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe while she went in the back and got it. And I'm just looking at the probably dozen people sitting there at the bar, and I just went, "Wow, glad I'm not you." And
Right.
I got my sweatshirt and walked out.
Right. Yeah,
Yep.
and there was a couple of occasions that I remember when I first moved back to Wisconsin. I think that was the first time I was down in Beloit, and I don't know if I went to a meeting that night, but I remember walking, and there was a couple of different restaurants. So it was the first night I was there, which was a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did my whole thing, did my work thing, blah blah blah, and I had it all planned out where I was going to go grab something to eat.
Right.
And from where the hotel was, it was within walking distance of a couple of things, these quaint little restaurants downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I walked to the one. I think maybe I was going to look up the menu, and it's like it's closed on Monday. So I'm like, well, fuck, man.
Right.
So then I'm looking around. I mean, all these different places are these family type restaurants. It was like two. I said
Mm-hmm.
all these places. It was a couple of them.
Right.
They were closed.
The
And then
throbbing metropolis of Beloit.
yeah, which again, the downtown area is not it's not super small, but it's definitely not fucking huge.
Right.
Um, but then I find it's a fucking bar, and
Sure.
I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, because now again at that point, that's 3 years, few months sober.
Mm-hmm.
I was still very freaked out by that, very, I'll say, against that. I didn't go into
Right.
bars at all for any fucking reason.
Yeah.
So I called up, I ordered my food and had to walk in there and pick it up, but I made sure that they're like, it'll be ready in 20 minutes. And I waited 25,
Right.
or almost 30 minutes. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't care if it's a little bit cold. I don't want to stand in there.
Yeah. Right.
And there was one other time that I ended up having to do that. I ordered food and got it from a place. And, to this day, I mean, well, today, if that was the only place to eat, I don't know, if I had someplace else to go, I'd rather go and watch TV than sit in, a restaurant by myself.
Right.
So I would probably pick up my food and take it out anyhow, but I don't know that I would order ahead. I might just sit there, by the door, whatever, play on my fucking phone.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't bother me like it did,
Sure.
12 years ago,
Yeah.
but
Right.
that's is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the way it's hopefully supposed to be. But again, I have no desire to go, hang out in a bar unless it's with, a group of people for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we went down to Dr. Bob's, had
Right.
food there.
Mm-hmm.
Going with my kids. I mean, we've had, food in bar restaurants and,
Sure.
sat in bar areas. And
Mm-hmm.
again, it's the purpose. It's the reason for being there. I'm there for a good reason, not a bad one. So it's, it's not bad. It doesn't affect me like it used to,
Right. Yeah,
But
but exactly. But right. Choices, consequences. We're not, like you said, not going to go sit in a bar just to fucking sit in a bar. Right. I mean, there's televisions everywhere. I have several of them in my house. Right. Go watch a game or whatever and go be with the crowd and blah, 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 blah. I mean, fuck, the Keating Center's having a Super Bowl party this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I might stop in. I don't know. It's Sunday night. It's my home group. I
Right.
don't give a fuck about either team. So I'm going and doing my home group.
Right.
There's probably going to be 5 people there, but, and, 3 of them are going to be fucking newcomers from the sober house across the way. And that's why I'm there.
Right.
Have the door open on Super Bowl Sunday, so some guy who doesn't have any place else to go and it's freaked out and whatever, yeah, come sit in this church basement with us for an hour.
Right. Well, yeah, that first year that we got sober, that's when the Packers went to the Super Bowl, and
Right.
we had that little get together at obviously at the 3/4 house, and you
Yeah.
had your meeting, and you came back and
Well,
hung out, and it was what handful of us, if anything, but it was nice. It was a lot of fun. It was
mhm.
something to again, that first year sober. Watching football games and getting together and having an event, for the
Right.
Super Bowl, because my fucking team was there, and
Mhm.
I'm like, well, it was so easy because it was they were playing the Steelers, and everyone in fucking Cleveland hates the Steelers, so
Right.
it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
the only person that we knew that was a Steeler fan at that point that I remember is Pittsburgh Matt, who
Right.
unfortunately is no longer with us, but.
Mhm.
But yeah, I remember him. He's like, "Oh, you fuckers! You just hate the Steelers." And I'm like, "I've been a Packer fan for fucking years, man." So I'm like,
Right.
he's like, "You get a pass or whatever it was." And he's like, "Oh, you other motherfuckers are just bandwagon jumpers." I'm like, "I don't care. We got enough room. Hop on
Right.
over here." But yeah, that's kind of cool. I didn't know the Keating Center. That's nice though. I mean, well, Christ, they have the space for it now. That's
Yeah,
for goddamn
absolutely.
sure.
Right. Yeah. So that's going on. Whatever. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll be in the Ozarks when. Oh yeah, it's not this weekend, next weekend. Yeah, I'm going to Amarillo, obviously this weekend, and then I'll
Mhm.
be in Lake of the Ozarks for the last leg of this marathon trip. But
Mhm.
it's been good. I mean, the only thing is I don't know if I didn't post any pictures of it because I didn't go to the Grand Canyon on Monday
Oh.
because there was a chance of snow, 3 to 6 inches here. At least 3 to 6 inches in the Grand Canyon, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I don't know how the roads are in between, and I'm like, it's fucking mountainous areas and whatever. So I just, I got a hold of Kimmy and Brian because they went up and they stayed close to, like, literally 5 minutes away from the Grand Canyon.
Right.
This would have been with no traffic and no weather issues, 5 hours of driving back and forth,
Yeah.
which I was more than willing to do,
Sure.
but and I'm like, if it would have been a different story if I don't know, not that I would want to drive even 5 hours on roads that I know, but I don't know these roads around here. I don't know what I'm getting
Right.
into. I'm guessing it's out in the open and mountainous, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, there's probably total 6, 7, 8 inches of snow in the area that I'm in over this week. It's melting off now, but I'm glad I didn't take the chance. But I don't know. I mean, it's pretty here. It's no doubt.
Right.
You throw some snow around, and I mean, the whole area is fucking beautiful. The place I went last weekend was beautiful, but man, I gotta fucking find a time. Like, that's a problem to get back out to Grand Canyon. I want to go to Utah,
Mhm.
southern part of Utah, and Zion and all that
Right.
shit. Anyhow,
Right.
so I don't know. I'll make it back, but
Sure.
anyhow, but yeah. So with the reading itself, kind of back to that. The other thing that I wrote down is admitting our. I just wrote down stuff because he was saying other things too in there,
Mhm.
but that's the biggest thing. I mean, when we've got and I thought about it in two different ways. If we fuck up, obviously we got to admit that.
Right.
That's step 10 shit, which we talk about plenty.
Mhm.
But I mean, also just admitting when, I don't know, when shit's not right, when we're feeling funky, or,
Mhm.
like I said, I was been wigged out this weekend. I want to talk about it, um, it was nothing that was sobriety threatening, but
Right.
I I've got a fucking forum here to talk about it, and it does it's okay. How do you deal with weird shit when you're fucking sober? So I mean,
Right.
it's all stuff to talk about, but I think that's one of the hardest things that like you had said last week. Number one, asking for help. That's
Mhm.
there, but also just admitting that us people, us
Mhm.
recovering people, admitting that we're struggling, especially when we got some time under our belt, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Anytime. Right.
yeah,
Exactly. Right. Right. Admitting when you're struggling, you just stop right there.
right.
Doesn't matter if you got a fucking week, a month, a year, or a decade. If you're struggling, and admit it and ask for some help.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess there was no, not even I guess there's no reason for me to qualify that because it doesn't matter, 15 minutes or 15 years. It's the same
Right.
God, you can still feel the same way. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. But I guess I was thinking in the sense that, but we've talked about that just because we've got a few years behind us and whatever the case is and have dealt with some shit, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean well, first of all, we don't have all the answers. We know
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't eliminate the fact that, hey, there's nothing wrong with, we're still fucking human.
Right. Still fucking alcoholics and drug addicts.
Right.
Right. It actually it kind of all right. So our sister came and visited me week and a half ago, right? Yeah, you
Yes.
know that. Yeah.
Yep.
So she did. Kathy came up here and she had a birthday party to go to, and she texted me, said, "Hey, you mind if I crash at your place?" Yeah, what the fuck? You think I'm Conrad Hilton? What the fuck? Go get a room.
Right.
No, of course. Always welcome. Anyway, so we're sitting here Saturday night shooting shit about tons of stuff and whatever. And some point she she said that she doesn't worry about us, that she trusts the fact that we're going to stay sober. And my first thought was, oh, fuck, don't say that. Right? Because
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
we can't think that way.
Right.
Right. If we got this, of course we're going to stay sober. I'm sober forever. No, I'm fucking sober right now. That's all I got control of, whatever. So, again, my first thought, and I started to push back a little. I was like, oh, no. But then I realized, I said, wait, no, I stopped and I said, you know what? Yeah, cool. That means that we're doing what we're supposed to do,
Right.
that the people around us aren't worried about us. So that's good. It was a very nice, wonderful thing that she doesn't worry about our sobriety. That's
Right.
great. That's fucking fantastic. I hope everybody in my life doesn't worry about my sobriety, because I fucking do.
Right.
Again, not I'm not freaked out. Oh my God, I'm barely getting through today. No, I'm getting through. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. Like you said, shit's going a little whatever weird in your life, and you said not sobriety threatening, right? Exactly. It's I can't imagine anything that would threaten my sobriety,
Right.
but right, but but I don't know. And that's the thing. I got to be on guard, because shit, I don't know. I stubbed my fucking toe and it might fucking threaten my sobriety.
Right.
Hopefully it doesn't, but it might.
Right. Well, and you know what? That's the fact that when you said that, when you said that Kathy said that too.
Mhm.
Again, this immediate, it's kind of like that's really, and I'm like, whoa,
Right.
I mean, I had that immediate emotional up and down,
Mhm.
and thinking, God, that's fucking whoa, that's whoa,
Right.
that's whoa,
Right. Exactly.
but it's nice to know. And I think, if I really think about it, I guess we can go back to what we talk about too. That when we say we're going to be someplace,
Right.
people expect that we're going to be there. That just,
Mhm.
it's like, okay, it's that as long as shit doesn't go weird, the sun's going to come up tomorrow.
Right.
And as long as shit doesn't go weird, the clock's going to turn another hour, in an hour
Mhm.
from now. All those different, you just know they're going to
Right.
happen.
Right.
So that part of it is nice, because we've taken all that fucking grief and pain and worry that
Chaos and right. All
that
right.
where's
We
he and what's
inflicted.
yeah, where's he, what's he doing,
Mhm.
when the phone rings, shit, what does he want now,
Right.
type of thing. um so
Is
we
he
took
fucking dead?
yeah, is he, well, did I tell you about it? Remind me about when, I think it's worth telling the story again in a minute, but about Dawn, when Kathy called her when I was in detox.
Mhm.
But so we thankfully, we've done the work. Okay, back to what we were talking about, to take all that away, and
Right.
we've given people back. This, not even given back. We've given people
Mm.
this calm and this comfort, which is
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes.
But you said it best. It's not their. It really isn't. Maybe another way to put it. It's not their place to worry anymore. It's their place to
Yes.
feel comfortable, and it's
Mhm.
our place to make sure that they continue to be comfortable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's our job to fucking worry about it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's, you don't worry about this shit. I got to worry about this shit every
Yep.
goddamn day. So do
Yep.
you, but those you people out there, you family and your friends and you kids and all you
Right.
people, yeah, that's no longer your responsibility,
Mhm.
to worry about us.
Yes.
Hopefully you can enjoy us
Yes.
most times,
Right.
But yeah, so the whole story with Dawn, and for everyone, especially, let's go to the new listener. Dawn is my ex-wife. It's my son's mom. If you listen back to anything, you hear about her a lot. We get along very well. I love her to death as a human being. Blah blah blah.
Right.
But when at the time it was leading up to me getting sober, and when I went into detox, the 4 years prior from the time we split to the time I went into detox, it was terrible on all
Yep.
ends.
Yep.
And she knew I was bad, but she didn't know the extent of it and all that stuff. So, and she hadn't talked to Kathy since we had gotten divorced, because of course I told all the stories and weird shit happened and blah blah blah.
Uh-huh.
So there's this division that happens.
Sure.
So when I went into detox, I'm like, obviously I remember, I'm sure I said something, but clearly Kathy had to call her. She called my work. Oh yeah, Bill's calling in drunk, and he's in detox basically. So, and then called Dawn, and Dawn told me afterwards, and she might have told Kathy, but at some point later, she thought that when a phone call came in, she thought Kathy was calling to tell her I was dead.
Yep.
And and that is God, even to this day, that's crushing.
Good.
I know, but to even think about it. To even think about it now, it's just that I can't imagine getting that phone call and thinking that that's what that's going to be. And
Yeah.
and you know what, it's bad. I did that to her.
Yes. Right.
And
You
that's
created that whole thing.
it's
Yeah.
fucking, yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And seriously, like you just said, again, good. That I mean, almost 15 years later,
Yep.
it kind of choked me up thinking about it,
Yep.
because I don't. I mean, I suppose somewhere deep inside of me, back in at that time frame, I probably didn't. There was good in me that thankfully came out or was built upon. I wasn't trying to hurt her, but I didn't give a
Right.
fuck.
Right. Yeah.
But shit, these days, man, I don't want people to hurt,
Right.
especially people close to me. People I care about. I don't want to hurt anyone on purpose.
Right. Exactly.
So
where the fuck that come from?
yeah. Wait, is that the book? Was that the beating? I forget where I heard that from.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Note to self:
Right.
look that up. But no, I mean that is wonderful. That's great that she said that. And I mean, Kathy, I know you listen to these things, so thank you, really.
Yes.
We appreciate it, and it's nice. It's wonderful to hear that. But yeah,
Yeah.
all the worry is on this side of the table.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't wake up, every morning worrying about it. It's just part of. But man, it's I'm glad that I think about my sobriety every day. I work on my sobriety every day,
Yep.
and yeah, I mean, if shit goes weird, I still, I mean, we talked about this. I still think about it. I'm like, what if I was still drinking? This would be a great excuse. Blah blah blah. All these different things.
Oh sure.
These fucked up thoughts still come into our heads, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I was talking to a guy at my home group last week, new guy, and I was, and I think he had like 9 months. Yeah, because he came up and got a chip from us, and yeah, I said, dude, it's it's never going to go away. Yes, occasionally I still want to drink. Absolutely. Right. I still occasionally want to get high. Absolutely. But I don't have to. And that's the difference.
Yeah. And it's a huge difference. It's, I think that, and we've talked about this plenty, people that say that, it never crosses their mind, or they never think about alcohol, or they never think about drinking. That makes me really fucking nervous, because I couldn't imagine not even having that. That's a reality, that's there.
Yeah.
I mean, no, relapse doesn't have to be part of recovery, but the fact that it could happen is a realistic thing to keep in mind.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, there's a reason why I don't touch a hot stove, because it fucking hurts.
Yes.
And there's a reason I don't do things that I used to do when I was 13 years old, because I know I'm going to either die or at least hurt myself. So I mean, same thing. I mean, I do these things so I don't deal with that, this whole this whole pain of going back into, this alcoholic behavior,
Right.
active alcoholism. So I don't know. I don't understand it. People can get through their sobriety happily with no issues and never have a thought about it. I don't get it, but hey,
Yeah.
more power to
Again,
you.
exactly. And like we've said on here, man, I don't fucking believe them.
I don't either.
Because
I don't either.
Right. Because I'm a fucking alcoholic and I'm not going to have an alcoholic thought. That's insane. Of course I am. It's what I am. Yes. But it's what I do with that thought and how I handle it and blah, 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 blah. Follow the simple steps that have been suggested to me so I don't have to act on those thoughts.
Well, and I quit. I think about the other thing. I quit smoking cigarettes. I still vape,
Right.
but I quit smoking cigarettes. It'll be 2 years and coming up. Yeah, coming up in March, it'll be 2 years. And I'll tell you, I Jones more for a fucking cigarette than I ever did for booze.
Right.
And I know I say only, but it's been almost 2 fucking years. It's a
Right.
year and 9 months or 10 months or whatever it's been. And it's seriously, whether I'll be at a gas station, it could just be when fucking ever. And I'm like, fuck. It doesn't mean that I smelled people smoking. I smell cigarette smoke. I smell this.
Right.
I see people buying them. It's usually not that. It's just that whatever it is, I'm walking along and it's like, God damn it. I want a cigarette,
Right.
And then I seriously swear to fucking God, think, God, I wonder if I could I'm like, nope. I wonder if I could control my smoking.
Right.
What the
Try
fuck?
a little controlled crack smoking.
Right. Yeah, and to me at this point, it is the same concept as if I had one cigarette, I'd be up to whatever I was smoking before. Granted,
Sure.
at the end, I was down to, a handful, 6, 7 cigarettes a day. I cut down a lot,
Right.
but I was also kind of weaving in the vape in between, so I would go back to what I was doing. I know I fucking would. The same as with drinking,
Right. Exactly.
But I honest to God, I think I can have just one cigarette. Yeah, I can do it. If I could do it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, we're
Yeah.
fucking.
Well, thankfully, I still can.
Right. Yeah, and it's just it's not that again. I did it. I talked about it on here. I did it because I fucking forgot to buy cigarettes.
Right.
And I'm like, well, okay, I guess I'm going to give this a shot. And I never would have thought about. I never ran out of booze. I never forgot to buy booze. And it was on my mind for a long time to try to
Right.
quit.
Yeah,
So,
I know. Right.
But I don't know. One way or the other. I now just got it on my mind. I'm trying to. I'm not really actively, but I don't know. The vaping is just it's just same thing. It's just a fucking habit. That's all that it is.
Sure.
And it's not a good habit,
Yeah.
but it just turns out to be a fucking habit anymore. But so okay, so real quick, I finished up the. I'm sorry. Let me go back here. I gotta flip my page. Mike, anything
Yes.
else on the reading?
No, I think we covered it. We create our own luck. That is right. That is luck. Put ourselves in circumstances, make choices, and that's what luck is.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with just random acts of what the fuck ever. We gotta be there to do the goddamn work, as we say, right?
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. So sorry about that. I don't know. We were talking
Right.
about, or I was talking about a million different things, and then we
Yes.
even got on tangents. Oh, I got to say this too. Speaking of a tangent, again, listening to another podcast, and yeah, I'm not going to say which one it is, but it doesn't fucking matter anyhow. But so many podcasts out there, well, all of them, have usually an agenda. Okay. And a structure of sorts. Except when one of the things I like about Dax Shepard, although not a sobriety podcast, talks about sobriety things, blah blah blah.
Sure.
He's one that he bothers me in certain ways, but parts of for the most part, 75% of what he does I like. And he does that. One of the reasons he went even longer form than what he had planned on, he just admittedly said, he goes, "There's no way in the world I can satisfy all my curiosities with any guest in an hour." He goes, "I know it because I can't do it." He goes, I can't stay on task. I can't talk about this." He goes, we're going to end up talking about a lot of things. And he goes, "I'm going to have a whole list of things I want to learn about you,
Right. Yeah.
So that kind of the same type of thing. But again, this podcast I was listening to, and they had this topic they were talking about, and then one of the hosts, started saying, talking something like, "Boy, I know this is way off topic, but I'm thinking it just makes me laugh every time I hear somebody say that."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything. What is okay? Let me just stop for a minute.
Yes.
What's our topic tonight?
Sobriety.
Okay, and if we end up talking about like I'm gonna talk about wild pigs here in a minute. Does that have anything
Cool.
anything to do with sobriety?
I
Eh,
don't know. I don't know.
this is a
Well,
sober guy that saw it.
right. There you go. Right. I don't know about wild pigs. I know a lot about wild turkeys.
Right, I know you do.
Mm-hmm.
But so it just cracks me up because I mean we're off on fucking tangents all the time. But so I finished up the Alex Van Halen book, which
Mm-hmm.
again, very very good. He did a really, I just think he did a really nice job talking about it. Once again, he doesn't really get into the Hagar stuff at all. He hints to it, that they went on to other successful things and
Right.
whatever. The weird part is, and I didn't realize it until I think this last part of it. Um, he talks very, very little about Michael Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll say Mikey every once in a while and this and that, but it's more about, it was him and Eddie and Dave that he talked about.
Hmm.
And I know that Michael Anthony was, obviously has been close with, Sammy Hagar and all that stuff.
Sure.
And I wonder if there was a little bit of friction there. It just seemed like he just didn't talk about it much. He would
Hmm.
talk about it, bring him up here and there, but this really, really just small percentage.
Right. Well,
Um,
the book was about him and his brother, and how the fuck are you going to ignore Dave? So,
right. Yeah, well, and he did. He talked about. You could tell. I mean, all the and everyone. It was so public. I mean, the tension,
Mhm.
that went around with all that stuff. But it
Right.
was kind of funny. I mean, he went into a lot of fucking detail. But it was things that obviously David Lee Roth would probably talk about because people would fucking listen, and he loved talking about himself anyhow. I didn't care if it was
Right.
bad.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, so what was your opinion of it? I don't know if I've ever asked you this, but the album Diver Down. Yes, no,
Uh-huh.
or did you?
I didn't. Funny. I didn't go very deep into that one.
Okay,
I was kind of moved on from Van Halen at that point. For me, the Van Halen was the first three albums.
right.
Yeah. Clearly the first one was just fucking groundbreaking and changed the fucking world. Second one was just kind of a continuation of that. And I love Women and Children First. It's one of my
Right.
favorite albums ever. But yeah. And then, I was moving on. I was getting into other stuff at that point.
Yeah, because I think Fair Warning was their fourth one, right?
Right. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
talked.
Right. I mean, Diver Down was, it had Pretty Woman on it and that
Right.
shit. I was already off into Iron Maiden and Motorhead and, yeah.
Well, the real quick on the Fair Warning thing, he said that that's when he was naming off all the hair bands, the
Mhm.
the Poisons and the Motley Crues and all this sort of things, and he said basically that he said Fair Warning was kind of their fuck you album to all the hair bands, about
Mhm.
this is what a rock and roll band is. It's not just getting up there and kind of glamming out, because he said everyone was trying to be like, kind of had their blonde haired front man, and I never thought about it, but I'm like, holy
Mm.
shit, because they were all a lot of people trying to imitate, whole David Lee Roth and his
Right.
whatever his
Well, I
pageantry
mean,
and blah blah blah.
Dave was fucking Jim Dandy. I mean, Black
Right.
Oak, Arkansas, right. So it's nothing new but York and Jersey.
Right. But so the Diver Down is when they came off. I think it was that might have been the fifth album if I'm thinking right.
Yeah.
But anyhow, the point there is that and I had heard about it before. That first of all, the studio forced them to get back in because they wanted to take a break because they
Mhm.
hadn't done. They had just been touring like motherfuckers for
Right.
years, and all worn out. And then basically, I don't know, they were off for like 2 weeks when they went back in the studio and got that done quickly, but weren't real happy. But the studio, there's 5 covers on there, 5 or 6,
Mhm.
Um, but in my opinion, so when that album came out, that was kind of high school years for me,
Mhm.
and it was an album that again, it's one of those location albums. I liked it. I didn't give a fuck that they were cover songs. It was Van Halen, and I like a lot
Right.
of them, and I love Little Guitars. That's one of my favorite songs, and
Mhm.
so all these different things, but. It was just he talked about how much they fucking hated it. They hated
Right.
every step of it because they didn't want to do covers. They didn't want to do this shit. They didn't want to just churn out an album. But I'm like, yeah, I don't know. But he said it ended up being I think it was one of their best selling albums.
Mhm.
It was because it turned a little bit more commercial, although
Right.
1984 was their number one selling
Right.
of all time.
Mhm.
So which again, that was around that high school years anyhow. But I don't know. But if anyone has the opportunity to read the Alex Van Halen book, if you like Van Halen at all or anything about Eddie and all that sort of shit, I mean it's good, and I like the audiobooks because I can occupy time. But it was good. I really enjoyed it, and he talked a lot about a lot of shit. Their background and their family and
Mhm.
their dad and their mom, and
Right.
I don't know. I've got a whole new appreciation for them as individuals, even though I've always liked them as obviously as a band. It just I don't know.
Mhm.
It was pretty fucking cool. So
Cool.
my 2 thumbs up from me on that one.
All right.
All right, so what the fuck? I think it. What do you think, Mike? Do you think it's time?
Oh yeah.
It's not that time. That
I
time.
just glanced over. Yes, it is. All right. Well, we'll be back with more nonsense right after these words from our sponsors.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
and,
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have 2 websites now. So we wanted 2 websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
At least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone, you've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back. Sponsors.
Right.
All right. But yeah, I was looking at that. I'm like, yeah, it is that time. Not that time, as you said.
Not
last
that time. Right.
Oh, but I'm kind of curious about, because I'm not going to put together the episode until tomorrow, but a couple of quick things about here. So I get here, and when I book a place, I mean, the internet's hugely important to me because of my work, but also because of this. And I know I need a certain amount of speed to do both. I need at least 100 megabits, of download speed, which most places have. Not an issue. Upload speed, I've got to suffer with in some cases, but if it doesn't have at least 100, it could be a problem for me on both levels. So, first I get here, and the fucking guy's out there, and he's sweeping off the front patio. His house is literally right next door, but kind of up on the hill, which I knew, but I'm like, fuck me. All I want to do is just unload my shit. And he seemed like he might be that, from the messages, he might be a talker, which is fine. So am I. But I'm like, I don't want to. It's an Airbnb. Fucking leave me alone. I mean, I don't want to chat, But after all said and done, I get in here, we're talking about the internet, and the whole time I'm messaging him to begin with to verify all this shit, he's telling me, ooh, I've got business class internet, it's 300 this, and it's blah, blah, blah. Well, that's in his house. Okay. So what he did was ran a cable down to here with a separate router, And this happened within this conversation, that gets like 100 megabits. Okay. They said you should
Right.
hit it 100. I'm like, as long as it hits at 100, I'm fine. So I always get in here every place I go, do the speed test on my phone first, and then I'll usually, if it's a question mark, I pull out my phone or my Chromebook so I can actually plug it into the Ethernet cable and test it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I run the speed test on my phone, and it's like 50
Yeah.
on my phone, and I'm like, oh fuck. So pull up my Chromebook, this and that, blah blah blah. I hit it about 85, and I just
Mm-hmm.
I messaged them and I said, can you do me a favor? Maybe it was the next day. I said I'll have them reset the router because the router's not here. First place I've been in where I can't
Right.
reset a router, and I usually do it every day because clean
Right.
out shit.
Uh-huh. Right.
But anyhow, so I thankfully haven't had any problems. But I'm like, fuck me, man. I'm like right on the verge. I hit it like 93 or 94.
Mm.
So it's right on the verge. But thankfully I didn't have any issues, so far this week with work. But I'm like, I do this shit. I plan this shit. I ask these fucking questions. This guy, oh, it's 300 megabits. This class. Well, you didn't tell me you ran a fucking router down to the goddamn house.
Right.
I would have thought twice about, seriously, I would have thought twice about renting in the place because,
Mm-hmm.
again, it's important to me. But yeah, I'm unload my car the day that I get here, and it was nice. It was nice-ish, a little bit cool. Probably in the 50s or whatever by the time I got here.
Oh, poor
I didn't say
baby.
cold. I didn't say cold. But I mean, it was nice out. So just
Right.
kind of loading shit in, and I look across the street, and I'm like, what the fuck? My brain didn't really calculate what I saw. It looked like you've seen a Lion King, right?
Yeah.
You know who Pumbaa is?
Which one is that?
He's the wild boar, wild pig,
Oh,
whatever
okay.
he
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I'm like, what the fuck? No shit. There was like 8 of them. Okay. Just running up the street into the yard. The neighbor across the street is chasing him out of his yard. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I looked them up and they're like wild pigs.
Yeah.
But the name, let's see if you've ever heard of the name of them. I'd never heard of this name before, but um Javelina, Javelina.
All right. Nope, never heard of it.
Okay, so yeah, they're fucking around here, and that's the only ones I've ever. I haven't seen them since, but I'm like
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. But I looked it up, and they're like wild pigs. They're like yeah. If you ever spend time around Arizona, you're going to see them. They're in the desert. They're like basically they keep to themselves. If they're around yards and stuff like that, they dig into gardens or whatever. Probably why the
Sure.
guy was chasing them out of his yard.
Right.
But also that apparently their eyesight's really bad. So they're like if you run across them, it says it says, are they dangerous? Short answer is not intentionally. It says because of their poor eyesight when escaping a potential threat, they seem as if they're charging, but in reality they aren't able to see you as they barrel through the brush. So if you're in some like fucking brush area, they're running at you. They can't fucking see you.
It's blind pigs.
Yeah, exactly. But I was just like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, all the fucking shit that I've, and I've been, I went to that trail and stuff like that. And I mean, all the time I've been around this area, in any area, I've never seen these fucking wild ass pigs. But I just like, I don't know, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that word before. But yeah, so there are wild pigs around here.
All right. There's a few in Cleveland too, but we won't go into that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, I saw some wild pigs, and I'm not talking about the locals. Hello. Hello. But no, it just I don't know, kind of freaked me out. I was like, I had to look it up. I didn't know what to call them. I'm like, so I looked up wild pigs. I'm like, was there fucking wild pigs around here? All right, so I had this note on here from a couple of weeks ago when it first started coming out. So I wanted to get your opinion on what you thought about this. I'm sure you've heard about the Surgeon General warning. They're proposing putting a cancer warning label on alcohol products.
Okay.
Did you hear about that or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Mm-mm.
Okay. It would have been, God, even up to a month ago. So basically, what they're kind of like the warnings on, cigarette labels and blah, blah,
Sure.
blah. I mean, the fact that, alcohol has been linked to however many number of cancers and blah, 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 and being carcinogens and whatever the thing is. So they're talking about putting these, these labels on, alcohol products. I don't know what's got to go or what they have to go through to get it. It didn't happen, but the Surgeon General has approached it. So I was basically just going to ask your opinion, what you thought about something like that. I mean, does it matter? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? I mean, what are your thoughts about having a
I
fucking
mean, well,
cancer warning?
clearly, as an alcoholic, it's indifferent. You know, I've right as a smoker, it's indifferent. Right, clearly, it's not good for you. Lots of cheeseburgers aren't good for you every
Right.
day. Um, yeah, I certainly wouldn't make any difference to me when I was drinking. And it doesn't make any difference to me now because I'm not drinking.
Right.
Um, yeah. So I don't know. I guess I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me one way or another.
Right.
Yeah.
It just here's the thing, when I think I saw, I don't know if I saw an article about it or if I just saw people starting to post about it, and I saw, again, I mean, with our Instagram page, I mean, we're basically follow all sober people, and for the most part,
Sure.
I think,
Right.
and all sober people follow us. I mean, that's the things I see. And people were posting about it, kind of like the almost like, hey, it's about time and good for them and blah blah blah. And this,
Hmm.
it's the milestone. And I'm thinking
Yeah.
the first thing I thought was, I don't see it as a fucking win for anyone,
Right.
because those who, I don't know, I just look at it like everything you just said. If you want to smoke, you're going to smoke.
Yep.
If you want to eat, fucking McDonald's every day, and if people don't know that fucking McDonald's is bad for you,
Mm.
I sorry. I mean, I don't know I don't know what to tell
Right.
you. If people don't know that eating fucking candy every goddamn day, I
Yep.
I eat fucking ice cream every day. I know it's not good
Hmm.
for me, but I
Sure.
like it. You know,
Yes.
and the way I justify it is, I eat pretty healthy other than that,
Right.
and I do. I eat a pizza every Friday.
Right.
I don't eat any fast food. I haven't had any fast food in probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. And I
Hmm.
mean, none,
Right.
probably the fastest, the fastest food I've had, was like going to, I don't know, like an Applebee's or a Red Robin or
Right.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
And
The diner up the street from my house. Right. I eat there
yes,
fairly regularly. Dimitri's. Right. Yeah, it's the neighborhood diner. And right. It's not, greatest, healthiest, but it's fine.
right.
Get an omelet, get a burger, get whatever. Sure. Exactly. Yeah. But it's not, the Chinese place around the corner. It's
That we go to every time that I'm there.
right, exactly. I mean, it's fine. I'm not going to eat it every day, but
Right.
right, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, the way that I look at it is just kind of like, okay, fine. If you want to go through, and I mean you meaning the fucking government or Surgeon
Mm,
General, whoever the fuck wants to put labels
hmm.
on shit, um, go ahead and do it.
Sure.
If I got to pay for it, then I got a problem
Yeah.
with it, because,
Right.
and I know I will, and I know
Well, of
we will.
course. Right. Well,
Somehow
yeah.
we're
We pay for all of it. They don't have any of their own money. It's
right.
all our money.
Well, and what again, another podcast that was talking about this is a sober podcast saying,
Hmm.
again, this is a step in the right direction. They're so glad that blah blah blah.
Mm.
But then, they're talking about that. The person had said that they hope that they don't, try to pay for it by increasing the price of whatever. Because they're like, a lot of the people, and this was the justification behind it. The people that are purchasing it sometimes, maybe that need it and blah blah blah. And I get all those sort of things.
Hmm.
That maybe they don't have the money to. And I'm like, okay, fuck it, no. If you're gonna drink, fucking pay for it.
Right.
When the sin taxes, I never liked it, but
Right.
when what cigarette, fucking Wisconsin went crazy on it when they did it.
Hmm.
Cigarettes and booze, whatever it was, they were like, cigarettes were like $2.50 a pack, and they went up to
Right.
like five.
Right. Yeah.
Almost overnight. And same thing with booze. I remember seeing booze take a jump like that. They're like, okay, well, fine. You fuckers want to smoke and drink, you're going to pay for it, and everyone
Hmm.
kept doing it.
Sure. Right. Exactly.
But I don't know. I don't see it as being a I don't know, people that are
Mm.
saying that it's going to be some great thing and it's about
Yeah.
time and all that. I just don't.
It's
Um,
right. It's not going to be a deterrent to anybody. Right. Yeah. It's just more crap in the way of nothing.
Right.
Yeah, it's virtue signaling. Yes, right. I'm
Whatever you were
stroking
saying,
out.
sure, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Virtue signaling. Right. Exactly. Not really doing anything. Just look how wonderful I am.
Right. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't I fucking see the point.
Yeah.
If people want to, this isn't, fucking 30 years ago. There's the internet. If somebody wants to know how bad shit is for them, they can figure it out. You
Right.
don't need a goddamn label. You
No.
just don't. I just don't. I don't know.
Mhm.
It seems like a waste of fucking time to me, but if that
Yeah.
makes it makes somebody feel better, fucking
I
fine.
guess.
Fine.
Right.
More fucking power to you. If you feel better about yourself because you put a goddamn label on a fucking alcoholic beverage, then I don't know.
Okay. Right. Mm.
Fine. More fucking power to you, right?
Right. Once again, doesn't affect me one way or another. Wouldn't
Right.
have affected me when I was drinking. It doesn't affect me now.
Yeah, and seriously, it was more so that I was just kind of rolling my eyes at the fact that people thought it was this great thing that, that it was finally happening. I'm like,
okay.
Really? Really? Like,
Right.
okay.
I don't know. The book I read said we're not supposed to be anti-alcohol.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Right. Those guys that wrote that book and put this Alcoholics Anonymous thing together. You got to remember, they were fucking drinking their asses off when it was illegal.
Right.
Yep. Little thing called prohibition. They realized it was nonsense then and it wasn't going to do anything. And that's not what this is about. We're not anti-alcohol. Right. Again, I've said it on here. It's been a while since I've said it, but I think all drugs should be illegal, regulated and taken care of so the shit's safe. And, if people want to do them, they're not going to fucking kill themselves unless they, want to take enough to kill themselves.
Right. But just
it's
real
not
quick,
going to be dirty.
You just said that you hope all drugs are illegal, just so you know. You said the word.
Did I say that?
You did.
All right. No, I hope all drugs are legal.
Yeah. When you said that, I let you finish, and I'm like, hey,
Right.
let's back this up because people are probably going, huh?
What? Yes. Well, they are.
Right.
Well, no, they're not. There's lots and lots of them that are legal. And they should all be legal.
Right.
Stop the black market, stop the crime, whatever. But that's just me.
Right.
And again, either way, I'm not doing them, so doesn't fucking matter.
Right. Yeah.
Except I don't want the little old lady next door getting hit over the head because somebody needs their fix. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Because that's I don't know. It's my opinion for years that as soon as the government figured out a way to where they could make money off of weed, it was going to be legal, and that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
And these states are making millions and millions of dollars in tax revenue, off of weed being legal.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
And exactly, it's the government's making money off of pharmaceutical companies. That's why that business is so fucking huge.
Right.
So yeah, as soon as they find a way to make money off of, fucking heroin, it's gonna be at the 7-Eleven.
Right.
And like a big gulp in a small bag.
Right. Exactly. But at least they'll know it's clean.
Yeah, that is. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it is true. You don't know what you're getting off the street.
Nope.
You're gonna go out and beat somebody up for it too, like you said.
Exactly.
All right. Let me see here. This is one God grant me recently. Today when I do my
yes.
Today when I do my step 10th step, weird. I don't remember why. I think I must have changed words, or maybe I fucking mumbled when I said it. Anyhow, today when I do my 10th step, I will take note of the areas where I need more practice working my program. Okay. So now in parentheses, I put kind of our side note question. Is there an area of your program where you think you need more practice?
Oh, sure.
All right.
I would hope so. Yeah, I again said it on here before, man. The fucking empathy thing is definitely something I need to work harder on, but sometimes slowly. Yeah, giving a shit about what other people think, but not, I don't give a shit what people think. That's kind of the baseline I'm coming from, but having to, maybe a little bit, work on it and find that balance and all that good stuff. But yeah, there's lots of stuff we could probably fill several of these podcasts up with things I need to work on.
Right. You want me to start for you? Or
Take your own fucking inventory.
I know. That was pretty much what I was waiting for. But
Thank you.
But yeah, and I thought about that. When I wrote it down again, I try not to think about these things too deeply. But yeah, I mean, there's probably, I mean, we say it all the time, and I think this is hugely important. Is that number one, we're not done, we're not experts, we're not finished, we're not perfect at any of this stuff. So, I mean, easily, I mean, every part of,
Right.
of my program, but and still, I mean, I struggle with patience. That's the biggest thing. I struggle with patience as probably my number one thing, and I struggle with freaking out about future events. And that's kind of, this is my wigging out thing, which I'll tell you in a minute. But I have a problem with that, and I have to talk myself back, and I have to talk myself down from shit all the time. The patience thing, I just need to take a breath, and I need to be, Jesus fucking Christ, have some goddamn patience. Yeah, fucking idiot. And then I have no patience for myself. So, I'm back to square one. But I mean, that's me. And I don't think, for the most part, I don't think I snap at people too often.
Right.
I don't think that people really know how impatient I am, just how really, how just flared up impatient I am.
Sure.
But
well, that's good.
That's a good thing.
Right. Absolutely. Right. That's the whole thing, man. It's how you're affecting other people. I mean, we try not to affect ourselves, but that's always a losing battle. So, it's all we can worry about is, am I fucking causing discomfort to others? Because I'm always going to cause discomfort to myself.
Right. Yeah, and I don't want to snap at people. I don't want to make people feel bad. And even though I'm being there's this part of me still, and we've talked about it. That I mean, talking somebody down and back in the day and all that stuff. You get this initial. It's almost like a high. Thinking that you won an argument, or being the whatever it is. That dominant one in an argument. But it's never any fucking fun.
No.
And if it is, it is for about 3 minutes, and then you're like, if you got even half a brain or half a conscience, you're gonna fucking feel it, So I don't want to do any of that, but yeah, so that's my number one. But yeah, freaking out about things, and thinking too far down the road. I mean, yeah, we've talked about it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with planning and stuff like that, but just these tripping out or flipping out over future events, and it does in this week. And fuck it, I'll tell you real quick. So last week, obviously, you and I talked on here, the whole car thing. Friday night, I'm like, I'll get the process started. So I did, and kind of got everything rolling. Friday night. And so everything's kind of, rolling.
You didn't wait till Saturday?
Well, and here's the one.
Just the patience thing. Sorry, man. I had to do it.
And actually, it didn't have anything to do with the patience part of it. What it had to do with was when I could get the vehicle. Because when I was looking ahead, they were saying, 6 to 7 days. And I'm like, okay, when I did a quick search to begin with, and it couldn't be delivered to Amarillo. Okay. I would have had to go to Fort Worth, which is, I forget the distance away, but there's no way I would be able to do it.
Yeah. That's a ways. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, fuck, I need to get on this now, because one day turns it into possibly next Saturday, and that wouldn't have worked, so it really was, I looked first, cause I'm like, I didn't feel like doing it Friday night after I did this. Again, I get done early with this stuff now, again, being in mountain time for the, which is only 2 more days. So seriously, yeah, but for once, it wasn't the impatience part. It was being prudent,
I know.
So So I get all this stuff, got all this stuff rolling, so back and forth, and everything's going along, and blah blah blah. But then it's kind of this slow process where they're like, okay, get this, and we need this, and we need that, and then they're like, okay, we're looking at Friday. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I'm like, what time on Friday? Because Friday's the last day of the month. I can't leave work early. I can't.
Right.
Then finally they're like, oh, here's the time frame, 5 to 8. And I'm like, well, that works. I'm like, well, fuck it. If this all lines up, then we're going to have to, do this recording. So, but anyhow, so once I start doing all this stuff, then I'm like, well, fuck, my car, is it going to be okay? My trade, is it going to be okay? What if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
already the increase in the payment. I'm like, fuck, and my month's going slow again. And what if I keep having, slow months? So I'm wigging myself out about all this stuff.
What if? What if? What if?
Exactly. And that's why I wanted to bring it up on here, because here's the problem. Every fucking part of it goes back to what I figured out, through here after you and I talking 6 months
Mhm.
ago, is fear. Okay.
Right.
And it's all financial shit. I'm afraid of my financial future. I'm fearful of what may or may not fucking happen. And I'm like, Jesus
Mhm.
fucking Christ, I slept like crap, all this different shit. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, I'm literally at one point I sat and I talked to myself for like 15 minutes almost. I'm like, you got to get your fucking head out of your ass. It wasn't 15 minutes, but I'm like, everything's going to be fine. I'm like, I'm trying to talk, because I can usually talk myself through these things and then physically feel
Mhm.
better, but
Right.
I was still kind of weirded out about the whole stuff. And
Right.
then the last thing that it is, it's like, okay, we need, kind of like one more thing, verify your identity. They're like, we
Mhm.
need a copy of a lease, we need an electric bill, we need a heating bill, we need this and that. I'm like,
Don't you
that's
know I'm the modern day hobo?
so that's from list one. Okay, all these things. And then list two is, copy your bank statement, a pay stub, cable bill, or not cable bill, cell phone bill, whatever. And
Right.
I'm like, I don't have anything in fucking list one.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
renter's insurance. I have renter's insurance, but it's basically, that's my car, and my renter's insurance is keyed into Kimmy and Brian's house because it
Right.
had to be at a piece of property. So I'm like, this is like Wednesday, or
Uh-huh.
no, Tuesday, whatever it was, Wednesday maybe even. I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, okay, all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put my pay stub and my bank statement, and
Mhm.
if something happens, I'll fucking figure it out.
Right.
And they accepted it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Trust the process.
Oh, but again, it's list fucking one and list fucking two.
Right.
One from here and one from here. I can
Mhm.
read directions. I read directions these
Sure.
days. But still, I mean, and it's everything's set to have the car tomorrow. The only thing, just again, I got to make sure the car starts and the power steering thing doesn't pop. When the guy takes my trade, and I'm fine.
Yep.
And I mean, they're not paying me enough fucking money for this car. If they got to spend $300 to replace a module, that
Mhm.
might be old alcoholic thinking. But fuck you and fuck
Mhm.
everyone else. Don't care.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
because literally, if I had the time and the tools to do it, I could order the part for $300. I could fix that module. I know I could
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
And I know what they can do it for. So I'm like, fuck them. They're
Mhm.
they're lowballing me on a goddamn car anyhow. So
Right.
in that circumstance, I don't do this very often, but fuck them.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be fine. But then it's kind of funny is I'm like, oh fuck. I wonder, is all my shit gonna fit in this car? But I had done all that research. The only thing that I did, this is kind of funny, the because you've seen it with the shelf or the table thing,
Mhm.
thin table that I put my monitors on.
Right.
That slides in and fits, perfectly in the back of my trunk, almost in the slot right up by the seats.
Mhm.
And I took a picture or looked at pictures online, and it looks like the trunk on the car I'm getting is cubic feet wise about a half a cubic foot bigger.
Mm.
But I don't know if it's bigger in that area. I'm
Right.
hoping that the wheel well area is the exact same. Because what I might have to end up doing is just, I don't know, if I could take it apart or do something like that. But I'm like, oh fuck it. That's the worst part. Everything else is gonna fit.
Right.
But yeah, shit. I swear to fucking God, I had myself all just wigged out. And it's financial shit. And I have a,
Right.
I was gonna say I have a right. I understand. I do. I care about my finances and I plan shit. I
Mhm.
don't spend money fucking willy fucking nilly out all over the place.
Right.
Um, but one way or the other. I mean, the shit's gonna work out. I fucking know it. But
Yeah.
this is kind of a big deal. To
Yeah.
me.
Right.
And it's a chunk of change, and it's going to be a little bit more every month, and all that stuff. But it'll all be fine. But
Mhm.
man, I just
But in the moment, right, you freak the fuck out because that's what we do.
I know, and it's and again, like everyone out there, almost 15 years, I haven't gotten that shit under control. I don't know what to do to get that part of me under control,
Mhm.
except for understand that, first of all, I know what's going to happen. I
Right.
know how to work through it. I
Mhm.
don't let it ruin my day. I
Right.
mean, yeah, the worst thing that happened to me this week is possibly I've had restless. My sleep has been restless
Yes.
this entire week because of it.
Mhm.
Um, But other than that, I mean, I didn't hurt myself. I didn't fucking drink over it. That's what I
Right.
said. None of this shit. I never thought for even a second,
Right.
wow, I should drink over this. I'm worried about how much money I'm going to have, so maybe I should drink it all away.
Yeah. Problem solved.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you have to worry about the car now because you can't fucking afford anything else anyhow.
Right, exactly. You don't have to worry about the car because you're fucking dead.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so anyhow, but yeah, I think that would be that kind of answers that question for me of what area of my program I need to work on, right?
Right. Well, again, and it's another one that you've gone through. I'm sure you went through something very similar, say, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whatever it was. And, this time wasn't quite as bad as the last time. And the next time won't be quite as bad as this time.
Right.
Yeah. It'll still be bad. It'll still suck and you'll lose sleep, but not as much.
I know. It's just it's just that again, the patience part I accept. It's just me, and I know how to sort of deal with it. But yeah, this fucking freaking out about future shit. I hate that part. I hate not hate. I'm not a real fan about that part of me, and it's just
Right.
I don't know what to do to complete. All I can do is just continue to deal with it as it comes up, and like you said, try to lessen lessen the explosion that I have inside my brain every time. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Seems reasonable to me.
All right then. All right, so I don't remember if this came from a reading, but it somehow it came across my mind. Dealing with resentments. It might have come from a podcast. Do you remember? I mean, like again, this time coming into the Keating Center, this run. Do you remember how you were able to start letting go of resentments, or even when, or like working through resentments? Do you remember? Was it I don't know, a slow process, or does it even any recollection about dealing or starting to work through the resentments when you first got sober?
um, I mean, um, I believe that starts coming around the 8th step. So, what,
A year?
year and a half, right? Year and a half working on 2 years. Um, yeah, a year and a half, probably starting to work through that. And I mean, as you alluded to, this was not my first rodeo, so I did have some concept of it. I had um, kind of started working on some things, long before the first time I went through some of this stuff. So I kind of had some rusty, dull tools in my toolbox that I had to take out and polish up and sharpen and all that. So yeah, but again, that's kind of 8th step shit getting to
Right.
that point. I mean, yes, 4th step taking the inventory and finding out what those resentments are and stuff and all that, and letting go of a lot of that crap in the 5th step. But yeah, didn't start truly working on it until about a year and a half sober, working the 8th step and forgiving people that hurt me and all that good stuff, which we've talked about. And I don't know. Today, we've talked about that too, man. Don't really have any resentments today. I have pity, and I wish that people would, act differently and get their shit together and stuff like that. But I don't resent them anymore. I just go, yeah, well, that sucks because they're living that way and I'm not, and I wish they wouldn't, but not much I can do about it. Powerless. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably a good point. And I know when I wrote that down, I didn't really even have an answer in my head about when that was. And I think about and again, probably going back to Dawn because she was that number one, even though it was,
Mm-hmm.
it was manufactured in my brain, but
Sure.
still, that's
Well,
what a
as
resentment.
most of them are.
Yeah, it's what a resentment is anyhow.
Right.
Um, but I mean, it's I think that slowly working, I'll say slowly working with her, or try to work through her, when it came to things with Derek and stuff like
Sure.
that, and getting, for no better way to put it, and I'm not necessarily a fan. She gave me grace. I mean, people talk about
Mm-hmm.
that. Oh, give him grace,
Right.
but
Yeah.
she did. I mean, she
Yeah.
did.
She did. Absolutely.
And I think that allowed me the fact that she came actually came into this whole process really soft with me, in a good way.
Right.
I think allowed me, to soften up quicker. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Well, she gave you the rope, and then you
right,
had to do with it what you did. You could fucking hang yourself, or you could make a nice macrame plant hanger.
right, yeah. And there was, I mean, like I said, when I made my amends to her, I mean, a lot of it was in. It ended up being in a fucking string of emails,
Sure.
inadvertently,
Yeah.
but I think that's what she was comfortable with, and I wasn't
Right.
about to say no. We have to sit down and talk,
Right. Right. Because it's again, yeah, right. Because that's what she was comfortable with. And guess what? It's not about us, it's about them.
Yeah, and I mean, she said some shit in there. It wasn't horrible stuff, but
Mm.
really, she got defensive in there, or
Yeah.
kind of really stood her ground, and that was
Yes.
kind of the funny part because I'm like, okay, so here, again, she's being raw with me, which I appreciated,
Right.
because we just didn't have that conversation, through that 4-year period,
Hmm.
and even the year or so, because what really clicked in the way she said that, and when it started is when I was going back to Wisconsin couple years sober, and I made that first trip back to Wisconsin, and I hadn't been back there since I was sober, so it was that was kind of a big deal,
Hmm.
for me and whatever. But I the way that email string started out was, Derek had wanted me, he said he wanted me to stop by the house. I had a hotel and all that stuff,
Hmm.
and I asked her permission. I'm like, Derek said he wanted me to
Right.
come by, but I'm like, I told him I'd see what what was what type of thing,
Sure.
but I said it's up to you, and she's like, I don't mind. She said
Hmm.
this and that, and I said, well, we haven't really talked in really that deeply over these. It's been
Hmm.
service conversations over the last couple years, and
Right.
in the email, I remember her coming back. She said, well, she goes, even though there was a reason, which I'm not going to talk about openly on here because I get
Hmm.
some ears, listening here and there. Um, but I said, she's like, well, we never really talked that much, a handful of years prior to that. And I'm like, yeah,
Right.
that's a good goddamn point. Even when we had the ability to, we
Mm.
didn't talk. So I'm like, okay, that's fair.
Hmm.
So that's when it all opened up, and she
Yep.
goes, I forget all the things she said to me, but I'll never forget, that it was either in that time frame or afterwards when she said that, I will never ever forget the things
Hmm.
that you did. I forgive you
Hmm.
as long as you keep doing what you're doing,
Right.
but I will never forget the
Yep.
things that you did. And I said, that's fair. What the fuck am I going to say? Really?
Right. Yeah.
you know? Um, and then just telling me flat out, that you don't get another chance. You
Yep.
don't get a second chance. This is it.
Hmm.
Um, and again, part of me being like, well, what the fuck, man? Everyone else gets a second
Right.
chance. But the other fun thing is when I really noticed, and it wasn't a tooting my horn, it was actually being proud of myself,
Hmm.
is when I noticed the growth that I had is when she came at me with a couple of things after over time,
Hmm.
this is what I'm doing and blah blah blah. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, that's cool. And I didn't argue about it, whatever it was,
Right.
or this is what the deal is. She kind of
Uh-huh.
laid some shit on the line,
Yeah.
stuff I normally would have argued with her about.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's cool. And she was just either like, oh,
Okay.
okay, all right, I'm gonna go now.
Yep.
Because she didn't know how to. She was so used to me
Hmm.
fighting
Being an
with her.
asshole.
Oh yeah, yeah, being an asshole and fighting with her. She expected me to come back with something, which
Right.
is what I always did.
Sure.
And I was again these little moments that we come across where it's like, fuck, man. I wasn't patting myself on the back, but I was proud of the fact that
Hmm.
somebody else could clearly see the growth.
Yes. Right.
Which is kind of what we were talking about. You started off with, kind of talking about the stuff with Kathy too. It goes
Yep.
along the same lines.
Hmm.
Which is, I don't know, it's the fucking point, but it's every once in a while, it's kind of nice to hear.
Yes,
But all
absolutely.
all the worry's still on this side of the table. So,
Yes, it is.
all right. So, enough of this fucking sobriety shit. You want to hear some news stories?
Sure.
All right. So I came across two different things this week. So the first one, and this is again, this is so fucking funny. Let's get to the headline here. Okay, this is not talking about Trump. Okay,
Hmm.
A guy turned orange. Haha. A guy turned orange after eating nothing but cheese, meat, and butter. Did you hear about
Yep.
this?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so for anyone who didn't, I was fucking laughing my ass off. First of all, it starts off a Florida man
Hmm.
in his 40s had landed himself in a medical journal after crazy diet turned hands, feet, elbows a slight orange color. They
Mhm.
diagnosed him with something called, and they kind of they did the phonetic version here, xanthelasma. Okay,
Mhm.
it is when your cholesterol gets so high that fat starts building up under your skin. Okay,
Right. Yes.
it causes yellow or orange deposits. Usually around your eyes, but it can happen anywhere in your body.
Mhm.
So yeah, he was doing this extreme carnivore diet,
Right.
eating hamburger meat, cheese, and full sticks of butter. Okay.
Mm.
He said he lost some weight, so that's a positive. But when they checked his cholesterol, it was over 1,000. Okay.
Yep.
Anything over 200 is bad.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, Jesus fucking Christ. And then it was just funny that this was from an article that was from some radio station. And that must have been where they grabbed this from the morning show. But the last line says, they didn't say how he's doing now. Hopefully he's had a vegetable. Okay, so we don't necessarily we have more female followers, and not the guys don't do diets, but I know a
Mm.
lot of people out there, men and women, get on these weird diets.
Right.
Stay away from from that, the extreme
Yes.
carb. Stay away from just meat, cheese, and sticks of butter. That's
Mm.
a negative. Okay,
Yeah. Okay. Wait, where's my pen at? I need to write this down.
right.
Don't eat 9 pounds of cheese a week.
Exactly. If I start turning orange, call a
Mm.
doctor. All right, so this last one, and this is a Wisconsin story.
Mm. Speaking of cheese.
Yeah, speaking of cheese, Waukesha. So when we were in, I talked about Waukesha enough.
Mhm.
It's a town that I used to live in. It's a little south area of where I used to live the last time. Blah blah blah. But so Waukesha gym teacher accused of driving drunk and causing crash. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, gym teacher was so intoxicated. Oh, hang on one second. We'll get to that in a minute. So when the teacher got to work on Friday, prosecutors say 52-year-old Randall blah 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 was drunk.
Mhm.
I won't say the limit here at the time, but basically police were called to East Main Street in Waukesha, which just for so you know it's downtown Waukesha.
Mm.
Um, Busy area, especially this time in the morning, 7:30 a.m. to investigate a hit and run crash. They say that this gentleman rear-ended another car and took off.
Uh-huh.
So this guy says to the person he needed to leave. He's like, I need to leave because I'm a teacher and I need to
Mm.
get to school on time. So the person took a picture of the license plate, blah blah blah, called the police. So they show the front of his Jeep. I mean, it's fucking smashed, right? I mean, not bad
Right.
smash, but it's fucking
Yeah.
shit hanging off, blah
Clearly.
blah blah. Yeah, it's problematic, right? So the officers officers obviously went to the school. They ran the thing. Went to the middle school. He was a middle school teacher. Found his Jeep smashed in the parking lot. That was number one. Saying he admitted driving his kids to school earlier that morning, and
Mhm.
also admitted to the crash afterwards. I don't mean to laugh at this, but it's just a kind of a flashback type of thing.
Right.
They administered 4 different field sobriety tests.
Mhm.
To him. They said he failed all of them, including counting and walking.
Mm.
um, they say that when he was in court, basically the his blood alcohol level was 0.40. Okay,
Mhm.
says people don't get to 0.40 overnight. This was a judge saying this,
Right.
court commissioner. Most people are incapacitated and don't make it. Technically speaking, sir, you could be dead at 0.4. And then the other thing he said, the meter said he was above, but it maxes out, I guess, on the breathalyzer at 4. Okay.
Ah.
So quick side question: when they tested your blood alcohol level when you went into the detox blood test, right?
Right.
Yeah, same as mine. Okay, so
Yeah.
I was breathalyzed when I got my DUI, and I say only I was
Mm.
only a 0.24 at the time or something like that.
Right.
But just to recap, Mike, what were you when you went into detox?
0.42.
And would you want to know what I am, everybody? I was 0.44.
Yes, you were.
And both of us were blood tested. Granted, it's a truer test, right? Blood test
Right.
versus that. But
Hmm.
neither one of us had had anything to drink for what, 2-3 hours at
Yeah.
least.
Right. Yeah. At least a couple hours. Yep.
And yeah, we were above. So this guy is certainly playing in the same field as us when it comes to
Hmm.
that. But yeah, so this dude, if I remember correctly, and I didn't read it in the rest of the article, but not only got hit for the drunken driving, the hit and run accident, the fleeing an accident,
Hmm.
but being intoxicated with a child because he he fucking admitted that he drove his kids to school, that
Yep.
morning. And I'm like, son of a bitch, man, and he's 50 some years old. So, he's our age range
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. And that again, 7:30 in the morning, I'm sure
Mm.
probably people listening to this sort of thing are not surprised that somebody
No.
was fucking loaded at 7:30 in the morning. But,
Right.
your all day, everyday person is not going to necessarily be, fucking plastered at 7:30
Right.
in the morning. But, yeah, that's the first thing when I heard the 0.4, I'm like, this dude's been at this a while. That
Yeah.
wasn't
Absolutely.
that wasn't a one time thing. Yeah, he was driving drunk, but he was, he made it. He literally made it to school, even though he
Yeah.
hit somebody along
Yeah.
the way.
Right. He wasn't doing it well, but he was doing it.
Yeah, he wasn't doing it crisp, but he got there.
Right.
He did get there, and that's literally the first thing I thought. I'm like, yeah, this dude's a professional. He's been around a while.
Hmm.
So, but what they didn't say is that I didn't see if it was like a first or second, or you get some of these dudes at at that level. I mean,
Yeah.
it's number 4, number 5, whatever the deal is,
Hmm.
and yeah, I don't know what his deal was, but once again, as I always say, and as we always say, we're not making fun of the circumstance. It's a
No.
bad deal, but it's really hard not to fucking laugh and not to look at and see ourselves and in
Oh,
this guy.
yeah.
You could put either one of our names in that article, and it would have been
Absolutely. Aside from the fact that he had a job and a
yeah.
car.
Well, I mean, I had a car and a job at the end. I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
I mean, I wasn't doing it well, but
Right.
I had
Well, yeah, kind of like his driving.
right. I mean, but I did. I
You
had
were
both of
doing
those.
it, you just weren't doing it well.
Yeah, I wasn't. Again, that was the job that I never showed up. Never drew a sober breath inside of that building. So, yeah.
Right.
All right, but yeah, honestly, I was thinking about it. I got one more day, and I'm leaving. I'm leaving early, like 4 a.m. on Saturday, because I want to get out to Amarillo, and it's every bit of 11 hours. Plus, I again, lose an hour going back, get
Right.
back into what is my real time.
Hmm.
But I'll tell you one thing, mountain time has been weird only in the sense that because I live on Central Time, that's where my
Yeah.
work hours are. So if I normally go to bed at 10:30, I'm in bed no later than fucking 9:30. If I
Right.
get up at 5 a.m., it's fucking 4 in the morning when I'm getting up.
Hmm.
And the the great part though is when we record on Friday nights, and we're done at 6:30, and I'm all set. I mean, even if it takes me a long time, I'm done by fucking 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Doing everything.
Right. Right.
And I'm like, that's a fucking dream. But it is. It's I don't mind the mountain time thing. It's not been any problem whatsoever. It's just I have to think, on a Sunday or on a weeknight, what am I doing? Where am I going? I gotta get to fucking bed,
Right.
But yeah, so tomorrow, the next week I'll be in Texas again. So yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Cool.
I looked at it's supposed to be there's this there was that Paulo. You and I had talked about it. Now I can't think of it's a state park that you said you went
Oh
to.
yeah, the canyon. Right.
Yeah, the canyon thing, Palo Alto or whatever it
Yeah,
is,
whatever it
canyon.
is, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's basically the Texas Grand Canyon.
yeah, exactly. And I've got I bought a day pass because they said sometimes it fills up. And I looked at the weather; it's going to be it's Palo Duro Canyon
Yeah.
State Park, but it's fucking $8.
Cool.
I bought a day pass for Sunday. It's going to be like 70 degrees.
Nice.
And I'm like, as soon as I looked at the weather, I'm like, oh fuck, man, I probably should buy a pass because, they apparently they shut it out. They won't let you in. But when I looked online, it was like they had room for like fucking 900 people. I mean, it's
Right.
thousands of acres, but
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you
It's
fucking
huge.
never know. You never know. I
Right.
mean, there's people.
Yeah.
Like I'm nobody's gonna go on a 70-degree day in January or February actually at that point. So
Right.
but yeah, other than that, I mean, do I have anything else? I thought I had something else. I told you about my wigging out. I told you about
Yeah.
these fucking drug stories or these the guy eating and this. And I think we're good. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think I
Well,
got
so,
nothing else.
think about the guy, oozing the fat out of his hands when you go to the Big Texan and get yourself a 72-ounce steak.
Well, I'm not going to get that thing. There's no fucking way.
Right. Yeah.
My friend Morgan said the same thing. She's like, when you're there, you got to do it. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing it.
Right.
She's like, she's little. I mean, she's only like 5'2" or 5'3". She's like, that's my goal. She said, I'm going to eat that one day. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. That steak's like bigger than you, man.
Right.
But I said, here's the thing. I'm like, if I fail, I can't afford $100.
Right.
Spend on a fucking meal.
Yeah.
I said, I'll probably do it. Again, even though I just talked about wigging out about money and I'm going to go out to eat, but it's an experience. I'll go there and have, one of the nights I'll go have dinner. I'm not going to get a big ass steak, but I'll get something. I mean, I can spend $30-$40 or whatever. It's not going to kill me. So,
right.
But yeah. And I looked and it's literally like 7 minutes away from the place I'm staying at.
Cool.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'll
Nice.
figure out a night to get out there.
Yeah.
And I'll report back.
All right.
All right, man. So now it is that time.
It's that time?
It is that time, damn it.
It's that time. All right then. Well, thank you everyone for listening to yet another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, go out there and do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't tell anybody you did it. Now, from the bottom of my heart to the depths of my soul, from the beginning of time till the ends of the earth, always and eternally, fuck you. And now it's time, kids. It is that time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate. Dream the impossible dream. And keep fucking off forever.
And if there's any of the new folks that made it this far, I would bet your fucking ass there's not another podcast out there that says fuck this much. I gotta start counting again. I gotta start taking a look at our transcripts. And what was our record? 160 or 170 in an episode?
Somewhere in that range, yes.
Yeah, there's all these goddamn podcasts out there saying, thank you so much for listening. Please come back. We're like, fuck you. Fuck off. Time to fuck off. Yeah, if anyone wants to hear the story behind all of that, go back to like episode 4. I think it's 4 or 5. The audio's terrible, but at the end of that episode,
right.
At the end of that episode, you'll hear Mike and I talking about it. And I think Mike decided how he wanted to. He said all he could think about is saying fuck you or fuck off to people.
Yeah, fuck off. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how it started. And a month from now, little less than a month from now, we're coming up with 3 years of this little thing we're doing.
Christ.
So I know. Can you believe it? I can't.
I can't. Yes, but never fear. It will be the same old crap for that episode, just like it was for this one.
Yeah, exactly. Same old shit, different fucking day, right?
Yo.
All right, man. Well, I love you, brother.
Love you too.
We'll talk soon.
We shall.
All righty. Bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.